Hi, Paul Bedford here from Retention Guru, and in this short video I am talking to Eric Malzone from the Future of Fitness podcast, and I'm talking about my experience as a nightclub owner, a nightclub operator, what I learnt working in that environment and how I took that into health club operations, and particularly into managing the experiences and making experiences you want people to return to. Now, if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in a box down below. Alternatively, you can email me at paul@retentionguru.co.uk and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. For now, enjoy the clip and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye.
Paul, I guess before we get into everything that we're going to talk about today with the generational gaps and considerations is my question is how did you get into this niche of the retention guru? Like, how did you find this spot? Did you kind of stumble into it? Is it something you're like, oh no, that's a problem I want to solve? Give us the background and then that'll kind of set the table for the rest of our conversation.
Well, look, I think it is a problem that I wanted to solve, but it wasn't this actual problem. The problem I wanted to solve, because I came from a trainer background, was how do you get people to stick to workouts? So it was more about if I'm writing someone a great workout, how do I make sure that they stick to it more than just 6 weeks and then disappear? So I started studying psychology because I was interested in exercise adherence, and I ended up doing a master's degree in exercise psychology and thought I would change the world. And then when you start talking to operators, all they were interested in was bottom line. And so it was like, well, actually the bottom line is driven by how long they stay, not how well they adhere to their exercise program. And it just sort of evolved out of there. So I still have a massive fascination with exercise adherence, as you can probably see from some of the books in the background if someone's trying to read the book titles. But I believe that I think operators can earn more money if they provide a better experience to their members. And I believe that everybody should enjoy some level of physical activity, exercise or sport. I think there's something out there for at least 80% of the population. And I suppose I'm just on a quest to try and unlock the mechanisms that help people stick to these behaviors that I'd really, really enjoy. So many of the people I spend my time with really enjoy, but so many people struggle to make part of their overall lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. And I remember when we were talking preparation for this is you came from the nightclub background, right?
Yeah.
So that's different, right? There's only one or two people I know in our industry who came from nightclubs. The other one is Vince from, oh my God, I can't remember the name of his company. Anyway,
Yeah.
but how does that relate?
It's about managing people and managing experiences. So I was involved in nightclubs from quite an early age. I was, here we have a different law in terms of drinking. So you can go to nightclubs and you can drink at 18, and it's actually not that frowned upon if you drink before that age either. So I was involved in nightclubs at 18. I was running nightclubs by the time I was 21. And we were just trying to, and it's like many service businesses, you have to create experiences every single time to get people to return, because they're not paying and not coming. They either don't come and you don't earn anything, or you put on an experience that's good enough for them to enjoy that night as a one-off, or want to come back again and again. But also understand that most nightclubs have a shelf life of about 3 years before they start to taper off and they're replaced by other businesses. So I learned a lot about human interaction and also about problem solving, because when I was doing it, which was during the mid 1980s, if something went wrong, there was nowhere to go to repair things. It was like, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, the DJ's decks have stopped working. What are you going to do? And you had to problem solve. So we got really good at problem solving just out of necessity. But I think that for me, it's always been this drive of that human interaction, meeting people. How do you get regulars? How do you create regulars? And how do you get people talking about what we were delivering so it attracts more people?
Yeah. Yeah. Really interesting. And imagine just like delivering a memorable experience, something that makes people want to talk about it, come back, like all those things you're talking about. It actually makes quite a bit of sense. What were some of the big names as far as DJs and bands when you're doing the nightclub?
So the DJs we had playing for, so they probably less well known internationally, but we had there was we had a guy called Dave Durrell who used to DJ for us quite a bit, and he had a very successful song track one time called "Pump Up the Volume," which was a real early scratch mix tune. But we also had one of my best friends at the time, and one of my collaborators, a guy called Andreas Giorgio. He just happened to have a cousin whose band was breaking at the time, called Wham, which meant that we had George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley in our clubs on a regular basis, asking to do PAs because it was a really early part of their career. And of course, when they took off, just the randomness of, will they be there tonight? We'll go just in case they're there, really had an impact on what was going on for us.